So we have a very special man here, Baba Brinkman. I'm not going to give him a big introduction because his music introduces. He is an ecologist, a scientist, a musician. He's from Canada, he's from New York. He's very famous for something called the Rap Guide to Evolution. He's going to explain it. And then he's also going to premiere a song that he's done just for us this evening. And Maria is going to say a few things in Espanol about the lyrics of the song. Thank you.
Ha hecho una canción de las tierras silvestres y aunque nos cuesta incluso a veces en inglés entender lo que son las letras, que por cierto las vamos a poner en la página web para todos aquellos que queráis verlas, se trata de llegar a la gente, ¿no? Yo creo que la música es, como comentaba antes, lo que nos llega al corazón. Así que nada más, Baba Brinkman.
The first man on this planet to translate his amazement at the wonder of life into a way to explain it was Charles Darwin. So this is a celebration of Darwin's greatness in the form of a rap. Some would say a debasement. I would say be patient. Okay, so how do you go from amoebas to rappers? You open the origin of species and you read its chapters. You're gonna learn all about the impact of people's actions on farm animals, ducks, cows, dogs, domestic crops. They had wild ancestors, but somehow they went soft. Kind of like underground rappers going pop. Like, for instance, in West Africa around 7000 BC, humans domesticated a species called black-eyed peas. But don't call it a sellout, please. Those black-eyed peas have mouths to feed. They're wild cousins, they're underground. They just watch from the weeds. See, there is nothing artificial about domestication. Ant colonies keep domestic aphids. It's an arrangement where one hand washes the other. We protect the cow, and the cow offers the udder. And that's how we get a mouthful of butter. But in the wild, that cow is not going to cut it. But think about it. If our little selections and little preferences can change and enhance the critical differences between wild and domestic breeds over the centuries, maybe that can explain everything. I mean, in nature, instead of us making selections, it's survival and reproduction in the midst of competition, where slight differences that arise randomly get selected by the pressures applied environmentally, and eventually species divide like a family tree into everything alive, from a tiny fly to a huge manatee to us, humanity. So how does this apply to the craft of the MC? What does this have to do with rappers? Well, they say evolution is an algorithm. It's like an equation. It only has 3 parts: variation, selection, and heritability. So let's see if we can find all 3 in that ecosystem known as rap music. Alright, so variation can be found in the styles on display. I mean, rappers all have different techniques when they're on stage, and the results can be seen in the audience's face. Like, for instance, at this moment, you all look amazed. Like guppies removed abruptly from your aquatic space. Your minds are probably racing over questions of style and race and genre and time and place, and some of your eyes are glazed like, for God's sake, how long will this take? But if you all feel that way, then soon I'll be replaced by someone more entertaining, like maybe Lil Wayne. Then again, if enough people just like you plant my seed, given enough time, you might turn me into a black-eyed pea. See, you're like ancient breeders. You're rearranging the features of a species of sheep, or increasing the sweetness of your peaches every season whenever you choose to seed it, or to feed it, or to breed it, or to weed it out and delete it because you just don't see it as neat. I mean, the preferences in question could be for bigger chicken breasts, or whip it to the thinner midsection, or it could just be an inner predilection to pick the best in any mixed collection. That's artificial selection. You're a farmer. That's how it is. You can't opt out of it. You have no choice but to make choices. You're helpless. It's because your time itself is limited. You're not selfish. It's just a rap version of the doctrine of Malthus. It goes, too many MCs, not enough mics. See, that's the proportion of hungry mouths, which is the too many MCs, compared to food resources in the form of captive audiences, which is the not enough mics. Because crowds of 2 or more will always be at least half as common as performers, right? I mean, there's too many MCs. Can you see the mathematical shortage? It's bit of a problem. But survival on stage is a non-random process, because those who get massive responses, well, they tend to influence those who aspire to get massive responses. So if you say I sound like an Eminem ripoff, then I'll probably get pissed off and start flipping you off and grabbing my crotch and acting obnoxious and screaming, "Nah, fuck that, dog, that's preposterous." So what you're watching is probably a form of imitation modified by experience, which is pretty similar to the genetic basis of inheritance, heritability, except it's part Darwinism and part Lamarckism, with genes and culture co-evolving as we rock to the rhythm. But whether you think cultures really evolve, or it's just a silly metaphor that's pretty but false, or whether you've never even thought about that, I still think Darwin can teach us all about rap, because at its base, it's all about that competition for status and intricate language delivered in battles, and it's all about getting that fitness advantage and the different adaptive behavior patterns that have us acting crazier than fences mating dances. But hey, that's natural selection. So sit back and listen, and you'll witness the evolution of the rap profession.
Thank you. So, what you're witnessing right now is a little bit of an odd duck in the hip-hop and music world, isn't it? I like to think of it as the platypus of the performing arts world, because you don't know where to categorize it. But it does, like all things cultural and biological, have an origin. And where it started was, I was writing raps about various academic things about 5 years ago, and a biologist reached out to me, and he said, "Charles Darwin's 200th birthday is next year. Could you write me some Darwinian rap songs to celebrate Darwin's 200th? And I thought it was a good challenge, but there was a price tag attached. There was a condition. He said I had to subject all of my lyrics to his fact-checking scrutiny so I could have the first ever rap show that's peer-reviewed. So you're witnessing peer-reviewed rap right now. I have scientists in my corner. But when I was hit with this challenge, I was like, how do I do this? So the first thing I did is I went researching the archives, looking for rap songs that might already have evolutionary themes. Maybe someone's walked this path before. I found a group that would serve as a very good model, the seeds of evolutionary rap. It's a rap group called Dead Prez. This is Dead Prez right here. And they got a song called I'm a African. Now, when Dead Prez wrote the song I'm a African, they were not writing about evolution. They were writing about revolution. I mean, their argument in the lyrics, it's very explicit. They're like the hip-hop reincarnation of the Black Panther Party. It's like, I'll try to paraphrase. Their version says something like this: black people around the world have a common heritage in Africa, and that common heritage gives them a common identity that's a form of solidarity that transcends national boundaries. Right? They might live in America, they might live in England or the Caribbean, whatever. They're all African because of their black skin. That's Afrocentricity, right? Black nationalism. But I think we can expand the circle on this argument, because when Dead Prez performed this song live, something strange happens. They do this big call and response with the crowd. I mean, they're on stage and they go, "I'm an African," and the crowd goes back, "I'm an African." And if you look really close, you can't help but think, what the hell? There's white kids in the crowd. There's Asians in the crowd. There's Hispanic people. There's Arabs. There's multiracial. What's going on here? Is that like everybody's Irish on St. Patrick's Day, so everybody's African at a hip-hop show? Well, in this case, yes. Evolution teaches us that all living humans alive on the planet today, including everyone in this room right now, has African ancestors. You only have to go back about 60,000 years and all Homo sapiens were there. And that diaspora is what produced all the races, but they're very skin deep, right? We are all African under the skin. Africa is actually the only place that 7 billion of us have a common ancestor. If you go anywhere else, you're going to leave somebody's ancestors out, and that's not nice. So Dead Prez were attempting to write a politically and racially exclusive rap song, but somehow they unintentionally wrote the most inclusive song ever written in history. So I want to treat this like a folk song from the homelands for all of us African expats, and we're all going to sing it together today. All right, now, some people are looking a little tense at the moment. It's understandable. Don't worry, I'll break the ice. I'm going to go first. So I'm going to say, "I'm an African!" And when I say it, part of your brain will inevitably go, "Ooh, look at him, he's clearly white. That's wrong." But Another part of your brain's going to go, damn it, he does have a point. And the second part's going to overcome, because that's the rational part, and then you're going to shout, I'm an African, back with just as much zeal, because you're going to feel it deep in your DNA, because that's where it all comes from, Africa. But of course, the whole concept is based on science. And in science, we don't take anything on authority. So a third part of your brain will make a mental note to go look it up later after the show, in case you don't already know. But you probably do, right? Various strands from various scientific disciplines have converged on this fact. Archaeology proves it, genetics proves it, bacterial microbiology proves it. So it's irrefutable. We all have African ancestors, which means we're on safe ground here, guys. All right, let's try this out. Whew. Don't leave me hanging, huh? I'm an African! Damn right, and I know what's happening. Come on, louder. I'm an African! Hell yeah, so I know what's happening. Awesome. But before I actually start the track, I just want to make a slight clarification in case we have any hip-hop novices in the house. Note that the title of the song is actually I'm a African. Now, many of you have been shouting, I'm an African. Excellent grammar. But look, these are grammatically rebellious rappers too, and they understand phonetics. Phonetically, you cannot pronounce this grammatically properly without saying, I'm an African. And we're not Africans, Africans. Gotta create that drum rhythm then. I'm an African. You gotta make every syllable pop. So, Wild 10 delegates, no matter how middle class you might feel, I'm asking you to go hip-hop with me right now for phonetics' sake. It means you're gonna have to overcome your grammar school classical conditioning that makes you pronounce everything properly. You're gonna have to read with your eyes instead of your brain. All right, so don't worry, we'll overcome these mental blocks together. Of course, the next challenge is gonna be for all of us quote-unquote Africans to say this chorus on beat. Yeah. Feel the drums. Come on. Nod your head. Let's do this. I'm an African. Damn right, and I know what's happening. I'm an African. Yeah, archaeologists, tell me what's happening. Are you an African? To say it loud if you know what's happening. I'm an African. Yeah, geneticists, tell me what's happening. No, I wasn't born in God, but Africa's my mom. Cause that's where my mom got her mitochondria. You can try to find you want, but it's not gonna change me. Cause it's plain to see, Africans are my people. And if it's not plain to see, then your eyes deceive. I'm not trying evil. The DNA of the base tells a story that reasonable people find believable. But it might control your transistors. Africa is the home of our most recent common ancestors. Which means human beings are all brothers and sisters. So check the massive evidence of Homo erectus and our little records that records in the fossil record. And then try to tell us that we're not all connected. The fossil record has gaps but no contradictions. And it complements the evidence in your chromosome. So I came to let you know about your ancestor home. I'm an African. Damn right, and I know what's happening. I'm an African. Yeah, geneticists, tell me what's happening. Are you an African? Then say it loud if you know what's happening. I'm an African. Yeah, archaeologists know what's happening. And every human on this planet is an African. So everybody needs to know what's happening. Spread the word. So, what you've been witnessing is a little selection of excerpts from this Rap Guide to Evolution project. But for this specific performance, Vance reached out and said, could you write a rap guide to wilderness instead? Could you capture these concepts? So the result was this song called Go Wild, and everyone in this whole room right now has it on your USB stick as an MP3. But what you're going to witness right now is the first ever live performance of the song Go Wild. World premiere right now. Yeah. So, because I like hyping the crowd up, I decided to do something similar to I'm African and get everybody involved in this one. So I'm just going to preview the chorus for you so you're with me when it comes on. So the chorus goes, all I want is a space to go wild. From jungle to glacier go wild. For the love of the nature go wild. So I need you guys to say the wild. It's a call and response thing, all right? You guys with me? Let's try this out.
All I want is a space to go. From jungle to glacier go. For the love of the nature go. Don't foul no wild locales, no doubt. Go wild, I want to make you go. It's somewhat innate to go. So come unchained and go. Don't foul no wild locales, no doubt. Go wild. Yeah, you guys are with it. All right, let's do this. Yeah. All I want is a space to go. From jungle to glacier go. For the love of the nature go. Don't found no wild locales, no doubt. Go wild, I wanna make you go. It's somewhere in nature go. So come on, change and go wild. Go crowd, go loud, go loud, go down, go wild. In the shade of a pair of our beauties, trees and beautiful BC, I hear the music. It's the breeze and the rustle of leaves. It's therapeutic. Wilderness is there to take care of us if we care to use it. I'm just a feral human swimming with the barracudas, sucking the juice of life straight from barracudas. I'm about as buoyant as an Alp air balloon is, flying like a bunch of young spider parachuters. Why? Except no substitutes, intact instead of crushed under a bunch of roots. Wild. On the banks of an estuary, sunset comes and I call it a sanctuary. Wild. Facing nature's indifference, a part of the food chain, embracing significance. Wild. Just like a predator finds prey, I'm just a primate seeking a wild space. All I want is a place to go wild. From jungle to glacier go wild. For the love of the nature go wild. Don't found no wild locales, no doubt. Go wild, I wanna make you go wild. It's so the nature go wild. So come on, change and go wild. Go wild, go loud, go loud, go down, go wild. Don't speak, you need to listen to the whispers in the trees with their secret message. It's the original seed of religion. But I don't need religion because I'm walking with the Jesus blizzard. On a street in the beds of the Amazon, or hopping with the wallabies in the outback of Oz. Loving the planet I'm on, so I gotta protect it. I see the hippopotamuses and watch for seconds. And listen to the dolphins' message. Plus I know the close cousins from biology lessons. And a part of my family, treat you, eat fruit from the trees like the chimpanzees do. Keep cool from silverback to Lizzie. I'm feeling weak from erratic tranquility. Wilderness lives in me like a wildebeest. Until it's only in the wild that I feel at ease. So I find a space to go wild. From jungle to glacier go wild. For the love of the nature go wild. Don't found no wild, go wild, go wild, go wild. I wanna make you go wild. It's so the nature go wild. So come on, change and go wild. Go wild, go loud, go loud, go down, go wild. That's my exodus path. Back to nature, where my ancestors can't. No one's trying to say that development is bad. If it's sustainably and intelligently fed, we can live on this planet and keep the rest of it intact. And leave space for the rhino and the elephant to have. And space for the wolf cubs to rest of the task. How much space? The best estimate is half. 50% of our land mass. Anything less, we best protected and hand back. And if you want to ask, well, why should we care and bother? We need science fact that provides clean air and water, medicine, and places to get exercise, and tells us that we're just another thread in the web of life. Well, I'm just more than intangible. Send it to the wild and feel the magic and pull. So I find a space to go wild. From jungle to glacier go wild. For the love of the nature go wild. Don't follow wild, go down, go down, go wild. I wanna make you go wild. It's so the nature go wild. So come on, change it, go wild. Go wild, go loud, go loud, go down, go wild. Yeah. It totally worked.
So, I wasn't planning to do this, but I have a special treat. While I was sitting in listening to all the other musicians, I got a little inspired to write about what we're doing here and why we do this. So I wrote a little impromptu thing on my phone literally like an hour and a half ago. I thought I'd share it with you right now. Wild, right? It's brand new, that's wild. All right. You're here because you get it. You can feel the natural wilderness spirit embedded. You resonate with it instinctively. It's clearly genetic. You appreciate the pure aesthetic that lingers in the lair of the lizard, in the heat of the midday air in the desert, in the glassy lake where the sky is mirror reflected. You feel it's missing from the irritable, frenetic urban technology sphere, and you regret it. You feel this at a cellular level, infusing your atoms. It's a rarefied truth that so many people simply seem to unable to truly fathom. You know that wilderness is crucial. It's a crucial factor in the human drama, and just a few interactions a week is enough to soothe the madness and move an average person to action, and not just any action, useful action. Wilderness is truthful magic. It improves happiness. Allowing its degradation to continue is something you refuse to let happen. So what is the best way to communicate this enthusiasm? Maybe we can inspire artists to act as ambassadors. I mean, if rap isn't for celebrating the natural world, then what the heck is it for? If young people aren't attracted to anything with integrity anymore, maybe I can be the red flag and y'all can be the matadors. And we can trick the bull. We can trick the bull into charging headfirst into something perspective enlarging. And instead of barging into a sword and disgorging its blood like a flood on the floor, the bull will be filled with an overwhelming sense of wonder and feel passionate instead of lethargic. I was never exactly sure of my purpose, but I think I just figured it out. This rap is the worm, and the kids are the trout. You need some juicy bait to deliver a crowd. It doesn't matter what your subject is or isn't about. Clearly, I'm racked with a blizzard of doubt. I thought the value of my craft was intrinsic, whether or not its proper application is propagandistic. I just like interacting with words and beats and the witty mastering of techniques. I never perceived this quote-unquote rapping as nothing but pretty packaging. I just absorbed my surroundings into rhyming words. I'm like the linguistic equivalent of a North Queensland lyrebird, or like a humpback whale. Anyone who says I only do this to attract females is wrong. This is deeper than a humpback whale song. It's the craftsmanship that I respect. The attraction factor is nothing but a fortuitous side effect. And if another side effect is inciting people to question their place in nature or reaching increasingly disconnected teenagers and making them peaceful and introspective instead of greasy and disrespectful, then hey, I can accept it. I mean, I'm no Al Pacino, but I can make a crowd of people all flip out and scream though, or just make one person scream like they just ate a twist of jalapeno. Watch this. Shout outs to Krista Valentino. The bottom line, don't be disoriented by distractions. Look past the wrapping to see what's inside the package. Inside this package is a deep appreciation of natural habitats which may or may not relate to my combative battle raps. At the end of the day, you people don't really need my help with your efforts, because enthusiasm itself is infectious. Your passion is more potent than technology's cheap sedatives, so my only take-home message is this: keep spreading it. Thank you. I wasn't actually even finished, but thank you. Can I do another one or two, or yeah, one more? Okay. Thank you. You guys are super kind. I got one encore for you tonight. Was going to have two, but the one I was going to do first is not very PG, so we'll just skip that one because I see there's young people in the crowd. Sometimes if you want to meet the older part of the young people, you need to push some buttons. Anyway, we'll skip that one. You can find it online. It's called Dr. Tatiana. Last track. When I first started writing evolution raps a couple of years ago, early drafts of my lyrics were very simple. It all started sounding a bit like this. Yo, yo, the origin of species. Ain't no feces, dog, bleed me. What? Now it's all I can think of. So then I was like, oh man, this really needs to be rewritten. And sometimes people ask me, well, how does your show get written? Like this. Performance, feedback, revision. And how do I generally develop my lyricism? Like this. Performance, feedback,
not necessarily feel like a street owl, even if I make a little mistake over the rhythm. That's okay. That's how I introduce